In order to gain access to the connector for the passenger side ABS sensor connector, it is behind the mudguard thingy, and it's connected way up there. So in order to disconnect the mudguard, there's a screw that goes right here, which in this thing is pretty much blown out, so it's not really doing anything. So I'm just going to get a fastener thingy from my box of plastic fasteners that I got from Harbor Freight. There's also like a fastener that goes to that thing that hooks onto the underside like this. So that's how you disconnect that. In order to test it, I used my Kaiweets HT206D with these connectors that have an indentation in them. So they kind of fit over the pin. And I had to hold it like really awkwardly, you know, like this, while I'm spinning the tire with the other hand. And I had it set to the voltage. Then I hit this to change it to AC. And it detected some voltage, like you could see a spike in voltage, like whenever I turn the wheel. So that's one down, 3 more to go. I also was doing my DIY body work, because this was indented more than it actually is right now. And I kind of made some progress in it before my arms got tired. You know, I was using like a 3-pound hammer. And I know you're supposed to use like either a dead blow hammer or something else, but I don't have one of those, and it doesn't look as bad as it did, but it's not going to look great, you know, so it's better than nothing, I think, maybe. So I'm going to probably shoot a video for accessing each one of these connectors, and it's probably going to be a nightmare because I anticipate having to take the mud guards off of every single one of these, maybe, possibly. Because it would make sense if the electrical connector is hidden behind a place that's a little bit more protected from, you know, mud, you know, and water and everything. Because otherwise it wouldn't, you know, it'd just be shorting out like every 2 months or something. The thing that prompted this is the ABS light is on and the traction light is on, which could indicate that the module is dead. But before I start spending like $100 to like for the actual service of getting a module like repaired and shipping for both ways and going to pull apart to get a sensor off of another car, because I can't just have it not be on here, you know, and you also have to drain out the brake fluid, and then you have to get the air bubbles out of it, and it's just going to be a whole project. And it might not even be like the module, it could be you know, break in the wiring somewhere, and I don't have a pinout for the module or anything. So I just want to check the easiest, quote unquote, easiest thing first, which is, you know, spending like a half hour on each wheel to check the actual sensors. This would be a lot easier if I had like an OBS sensor, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it would detect the thing for each tire, each wheel. I guess I'm just gonna do things the hard way, because like an OBS sensor, like a really good one, is like $140 at least. There are more basic models, but I at least want to start with, you know, doing this first. And it's more labor intensive, and I might end up kicking myself for not just getting the OBS sensor, or is it OBD? Forget which. An OBD thing you know, and saving myself all that labor when it would indicate, hey, this sensor is bad and I'm not receiving any data from it. And it could just be something as simple as like spinning the tires while the OBD sensor is hooked up, instead of doing all this, which is really time consuming and it's difficult trying to hold this in place and stuff. There are so many of these body fasteners to keep this mud guard on, and all of it is just to get back to where the connector is. So it is all the way under here. Like, it doesn't extend into the body. There's no access for it. I don't know why they didn't just make it so where it could have a hole that it goes through and access from inside the engine bay, but it does not. So, how many are there? One back here, 2, 3. That's attached by a screw. 4, 5. 6. 7. Back there. 8. I don't think this is one. Oh, there's one underneath here somewhere. I think there's one under here somewhere. So that makes 10. I'd have to get on my back in order to get an image of that. So now I gotta check and see if it's even broken. It might not even be. It could just be one of these rear ones. It's been like an hour and a half since I took that thing off, tested it. It was fine. It took me like an hour and a half to get all the fasteners back together and everything. Mostly because this piece, partly because of this piece, like it slides out from here and it's got like a fastener here and a fastener here. And I don't think this screws in any more than it does. I think I've got it set up correctly like it is right now. I don't think it actually goes behind that piece. I hope it doesn't. I'd have to like take a whole bunch of stuff back apart. Okay, so it looks like I'm in for another 15 minutes to a half an hour trying to fight with this thing. Maybe I won't have to fight as hard now that I'm going to be putting it in a different spot. So the main problem with trying to get these fasteners in is that I don't have the correct ones. The ones that come with the car have a very, like the diameter of the heads of those things are closer to these. And the actual stem of them are less than 6 millimeters. So I can't use these and I can't use these, so I have to use the original ones, which are kind of torn up when you take them out. I could check next time I'm at Harbor Freight to see if they have more of those things that are closer to the correct size. But, you know, I've just put the ones that are torn up back in there. So time to undo this and undo the two that are under there so that I can reposition this thing to where it's supposed to go. All right, what time is it? It's been another 20 minutes, I think, probably at least. When you're doing this, have the wheel turned all the way to the left. This is the way that it goes. It's frame, blue thingy, mudguard behind it, Then underneath, I've got one thingy there and one thingy there. The blue thing is all on the outside. This thing is sandwiched in between the frame and this. That's how it goes. So I don't know if I want to do the rear wheels today because it's already almost 6 and I've been up since 1:30 a.m. It's 6 p.m. And it's like flooding my garage, and this is just not great conditions for working on my car, and I need to get, well, I've got more mats I could be using, and probably ought to be using, because my bike doesn't really need this underneath it or anything. But I'm already soaked, so I might as well just keep getting soaked. I don't know. Where's the rear wheel thingy? Is it any more exposed over here? Interesting. I think maybe it's not even connected. These are some grody looking shocks, struts. Maybe I ought to replace these. Maybe that's why the ride is so rough. I'm still getting some vibration above 65. That's just a cover. That doesn't do anything. Like on the other side, it's like loose, you know? Okay. Let's figure out where we're gonna go from here. Because I seem to recall something about the ABS sensors being disconnected by the previous driver, but I could be wrong about that. Well, we're pretty screwed. The rear sensors are fine. I took out the back seat, and the way that I did that was you push on these thingies and it pops up. I had to like hit on it with like a pry bar and a hammer. Like it didn't just easily come free like it shows in some of the videos. It is soaking wet underneath this seat. There is something seriously wrong with, you know, the waterproofing in this car. I don't know where the water's coming in from. Like we know for sure that, you know, back here it's just flooded, and that's because it's torn right here. So I got to feed the seat belts back through the seat, push it down, make sure it clicks, get the stuff off of, you know, get the car off of the jack stands and lower back down, yada yada. But the problem is, you know, we're cooked, we're screwed, we're effed, because like the next thing is like troubleshooting, like this thing, the brake ABS module. And that means draining the brake fluid out of there, like siphoning it out of the brake fluid reservoir. That's power steering fluid. Where's brake fluid? Why the hell is this overflowing? It says do not overfill. That's just water down there. I'm sure some of that is mixed in with power steering fluid. It's like draining all the way down there. So I must have overfilled it, apparently. Maybe that's from messing around with the steering rack too. But I mean, siphoning siphoning stuff out of the brake fluid reservoir, which that already looks like it's pretty low. Oh, it's right where it's supposed to be. So it looks like I'm gonna have to go to Pull Apart, get one of those thingies, send it in, get it repaired. That's my easiest fix. The other more difficult thing would be trying to chase down, get the pin out for that module and try to chase down signals and stuff. So just a quick note. Ow, I've been sitting there for like a half hour. I checked all the fuses in here and in the cabin fuse box that related to the ABS module. They were all fine. I want to know if there's a way to get this thing out of there without like draining it and everything. I don't think there will be. Because I think in order to get that off of there, you have to have, in order to get down in there and to get to the screws that are on that thing, those are Torx bits. See where it attaches, right there. Got the Torx bit. And in order to get to that, I'd have to have that thing disconnected. Unless, no, because there's 4 of those screws. And really all I need is the computer part off of it. I don't need to disconnect the pump and everything. Like, these look immaculate. Like, this is probably the first time in like 12 years, no, 22 years that this thing has been taken apart. And down in there it looks fine too. Like, all I need is the computer off of that thing. I don't need, there's no way to get a Torx bit in there and unscrew it and stuff without taking out the whole module. Because it's got 4 Torx bit screws on it, and there's no way that I'm going to be able to get the correct angle in there in order to take those out. So the whole point, like, they could have designed this to where it's more modular and able to be disassembled, but no, they just have to make it like super difficult. And there's a guy who repairs the things online for like $100, but I was looking at videos of people taking apart ABS modules, and more than likely it's just solder on like the thing that connects it to like the circuit board to the power supply. I don't know why I'm reattaching this. It's not like it works anyway. In the continuing saga of things that keep going wrong with this car, I got the spark plug out of the cylinder 3 position, and the way that I got that out is first I just unclipped the air intake from that thingy, and I just used a flathead screwdriver to unscrew that and take it off. I then used a 16mm socket, which is not a 5/8, And the reason why I did that is because the spark plug socket thing that I've got is one of the ones that has this long extension on it. So instead of that, I just put a short extension on the ratchet and used a 16mm, broke it free, and then just loosened it by hand with just putting the socket on it. So that's the good news. I got it out of the FU well, the hardest one to get out. The bad news is that it's got oil on it. Look at this. Look at this. You see how bad this is? This is why we had a misfire. It had oil on it. So that can be like a dozen different things, and what's going to happen is I'm just going to keep throwing parts at it again and again and again until I figure out what is actually causing there to be oil in there. My first instinct is that, okay, so I've had this happen on the Hyundai, and the way that I resolved that was to replace the valve cover gasket. I don't know where that is on this particular car though. I assume that you have to do that, undo that nut that I assume is a nut. Yeah, it's a nut. On those studs, and take those off and maybe replace the valve cover gasket there. I don't know. I'm going to have to look this up because it could be a bajillion different things. I'm hoping it's not like, you know, the air, like the whole intake thingy, because that is a long project to have to do. Like, that is a whole gigantic project. So I had to figure out what in the world this hose goes to, because I didn't see it plugged into anything when I took off the air intake, and the air intake is actually what it does go to. It goes right there. I think I'm going to have to replace this tube, because look at how dry rotted this thing is. It's no longer a tube so much as it's just like something tube shaped. It doesn't do the job of a tube. And I'm guessing I'm gonna have to get it now, because it looks like it would just fit over the top of whatever this is. So that should be easy. But taking out the valve cover gasket, I looked at a video that was like 9 years old, and I'm assuming I'll have to take off the whole intake manifold, possibly. Like, I don't know what the easiest way to do this will be, because you got all this stuff in the way. This is a fuel line, I think, and you've got to have a special fuel line detacher tool, I think. The guy bought one from the store. What is this? What is this thing? This little clippy thing. Is it meant to hold something else? Is that the actual tool you're supposed to use to remove the fuel line? I don't know. I don't have the parts, and I need to look up and very carefully pick out the parts so I'm not like, oh, I've taken this half apart. I've taken this half apart and now I'm missing stuff. I don't know. I just put the spark plug back in there. I'm going to torque it down to 13 foot-pounds. People say that you don't really have to torque it down, but I'm like, somebody else is going to complain that I didn't torque it down to spec or didn't tighten it down enough, and it's like, okay, I'm doing due diligence so that nobody gets to complain that I did it wrong. I know I could just snug it, but I don't want to leave anybody the opportunity to criticize something and not lend aid elsewhere where I need it. I haven't seen a whole lot of people do something like this where they show the exact position that your tool has to be in order for it to connect to something. So this is set to 156 inch-pounds instead of foot-pounds. This is my quarter-inch torque wrench, and it's attached to a 16mm socket, and then that goes to like a thing that's like maybe an inch thingy, and then it's got the adapter that goes to the socket, to the torque wrench. So that's how I got it in there. It has to be exactly there. I'm sure maybe if you just take out the whole engine, there's an easier way to fit that in there, but that's how I was able to do that. This is a temporary fix. I assume that this is going to be a gigantic headache trying to just get the valve cover gaskets replaced and the little thingies that go to the spark plug wells, the gaskets for those too. I've seen, I saw a Chris Fix video on how to replace the intake manifold, and he did that on an older car, and it was a GT and not like just the regular old 3.8 liter V6, and this doesn't have like a turbocharger or anything. So I don't know if it would work, and I don't know how much one of those would be, and I don't know if it's even necessary because I don't know if it's leaking. But it looks like it's a huge job, and I can't tell where each one of the bolts are in this thing, so again, I'm going to have to look up a video on how to replace the intake manifold. Hopefully I'll be able to get this thing out without, you know, having to replace stinking everything, you know, like the throttle body and stuff, but that might just be the easiest way to do it. I assume this thing is the one that's going to need to come off. Also, there's like an exhaust. Supposedly, when I went to get the cylinder 4 misfire fixed like a year ago, it wasn't quite a year ago, but they replaced the ignition coil, and they said that one of the exhaust manifolds had a leak, and I still need to use, I did find my magical pickled jalapeno jar with the fitting in there so I can make my smoke machine track down any vacuum leaks, but obviously, well, this could be a source of one of them because that thing is all dry rotted. But this is temporary. It's just gonna have to last until I can get this fixed. I might just have to replace all the spark plugs all over again. You know, I'm gonna buy some spark plugs while I'm at it, while I'm getting all the valve cover gaskets and stuff.